Cocomelon Lane on Netflix is facing a lot of backlash because of its latest episode where it shows a little boy dressed up in a tutu and a tiara dancing for his gay dads. And people aren't happy about it. I can see why. And I think it has some serious consequences. And this is not the first serious controversy that Netflix has been embroiled in. We can go back 3 years to Cuties, where we can see how that played out. It hurt the company a lot. But there is a more sinister message at play in this scene that we're talking about that I think really needs to be dived into. And we're going to get into that towards the end of the video, so stick around. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the channel. I'm Chase, and this is Cut to the Chase with me, Chase. So if you don't know what's going on, Cocomelon is a YouTube show that now Netflix is starting to produce and called Cocomelon Lane. So in this episode, there is a point in which this little boy and his two gay dads, they're going to get a family picture taken. And so what happens is they all go into the studio. The kid finds like the costume rack and he starts picking out these clothes. And through the process, at one point, he puts on a tutu and a tiara and dances in front of his gay dads. So that's the scene people are rightfully outraged about. First off, it's weird. It doesn't need to be in there. And parents are rightly outraged. And here's the main reason why. This show is geared towards literally like 2-year-olds. They don't need to be bombarded with this stuff, because they don't understand it. They don't have the ability to parse out what's going on the TV in front of them. They just see, they don't have the ability to parse it out to make sense of it, but they just gather information. And what this is doing is when you throw in this kind of stuff, you are creating a manufactured dysphoria. You're creating confusion on purpose. What kids need is a base to start from. They need to know societal norm, and then from there they can build. It's like when you're teaching anything. You go to the basics and then you build on from there. Like when you're teaching art, you don't teach the kid how to draw a scene with 4 different vanishing points. They aren't going to understand that. You start with a basic simplicity that society understands. I know some detractors will say, well, how young is too young to teach them about these alternate lifestyles? I don't know. But if they can't spell LGBTQIA, they're too young. I know that. Or other detractors will say, well, we're trying to create an environment by providing information so that way the kid can feel comfortable about coming out. Which that argument just irritates me at this point, because there is no shortage of comfortability. Everybody is coming out, including their Uncle Harry, as some genderqueer owl. I don't know. So don't tell me you're trying to create a safe space for that. Give a 12-year-old 4 days on TikTok, and I guarantee you by the end of it, he'll think he's a foxkin or wolfkin, something like that. Okay, there is no shortage of comfortability in this. Here's the thing. Most people my age will probably be familiar with what I'm about to say. There was a shelf that your parents kind of had, and basically the idea was you could watch anything on that shelf. Either the parents had previewed it, or at the time it was made by Disney, and you knew nothing was inappropriate. Oh, what a time that was. And so you could watch anything on that shelf, and your kids would be fine. So nowadays, the streaming version of that shelf is the kids spot. So Netflix for kids, YouTube for kids. The idea is, hey, your kids can watch anything in here. They're not going to be exposed to any nonsense that might be out there. But they are. And this is proof of that. And that's why people are outraged. But there is a much sinister message that this scene provides that I want to dive into, because I think it's really important to bring up. So this boy is super excited to go get his family picture taken with his parents. They go into the studio, and this kid goes right over to the costume rack and he picks out 2 items. Let me tell you something. This kid is already making it easier than when my wife is trying to pick out an outfit, okay? And you know what's going through this kid's mind. He's got 2 gay dads, so we can safely assume this kid has probably watched Queer Eye for the Straight Guy 3 times in the last 6 months. He's like, hey, those guys were gay, my dads were gay. Who better to ask for fashion advice? Bros, I got 2 things right here. What do you guys think would look best on me? And these 2 gay guys fail him in giving him the best fashion advice. It's terrible. This is terrible. It's already off to a terrible start. Because if you can't trust a gay guy to dress you well, who can you trust? So then they give him awful advice. They say, hey, why don't you dress the way you feel? And the kid knows it's terrible advice because then he says, well, do you have recommendations at least? And so they start throwing different ideas at him. Well, you like cooking. Well, you like firefighters. Well, you like dancing. That's when he dresses up in a tutu and a tiara. And eventually the kid is just left more confused than when he started. And this is illustrated by what happens next. The kid is left so completely confused and misguided and purposeless that he puts on everything. And then the parents enable that behavior by doing the same thing. And so at the end, everybody's confused. What is the message? There is no message. The kid didn't do anything. The kid didn't decide on anything. He decided on nothing. There is no moral guideline that's taught. Nothing. Because we don't even understand what the kid did. All we know is at the end there was a picture taken. And that is the awful message that's sent. Is that at the end of the road, there is nothing. There is no purpose. There is no moral. They may not realize it, but that's exactly what it's saying. All you're left with is confusion. But I am curious what you guys think. I'd like to know down in the comments. Do you think there is a better message that's being sent that I'm not seeing? Maybe there is, and I'm just not seeing it. And if you like this video, please go down and like it. It really helps out the algorithm. And if you have not yet already, please subscribe to the channel. Hit that bell for notifications. You'll get notified every time one of my videos pops up. And you know you're not going to want to miss the next one. And if you want more videos like this, watch this recommended one right here. Lots of crazy people. As always, guys, peace out.